1 week. That's all I had left. 1 week before the most important exam of my life, the engineering board exam. And I had just failed my mock exam. Not almost failed. Failed. And sitting there, staring at that score, something inside me just broke. I remember thinking, maybe I'm just not good enough. Maybe 4 years of sleepless nights, 4 years of problems I couldn't solve, 4 years of telling everyone I'm going to be an engineer. Maybe it was all going to end here. 1 week away, with a failed mock exam in my hands. But then something happened. Not a motivational quote, not a study hack, not a new technique. Just a thought. One quiet thought that changed everything. This is the last phase. 4 years, every failed quiz, every all-nighter, every moment I wanted to quit, but didn't. It all led to this week. This was never just an exam. This was the last thing standing between me and everything I had worked for. And I realized something that I want you to hear right now. Whether you're preparing for an exam, facing something that feels impossible, or sitting with a result that's telling you to give up, the moment you almost quit is rarely the moment you should. It's usually the moment you're closest. So let me tell you what I actually did, and I promise you, it's not what you expect. The first thing I stopped doing was studying out of fear. Because here's what fear-based studying looks like. You open your books, but you're not really reading. You're panicking. You're scanning pages hoping something sticks, hoping you don't forget, hoping you're enough. And that kind of studying doesn't build knowledge. It builds anxiety. And anxiety is the enemy of recall. The moment I shifted from, I need to memorize everything, to, I need to trust what I already know, everything changed. Because here's the truth nobody tells you before a big exam. You know more than you think you do. You've been preparing longer than you realize. The problem isn't knowledge. The problem is that fear is blocking access to it. The second thing I did was probably the hardest. I stopped checking on everyone else. You know what I mean. That person in your review group who seems like they were born ready. The one who answers every question, finishes every mock exam early, and you're sitting there thinking, how are they so calm? How do they know all of this? What's wrong with me? And the more you look at them, the smaller you feel. Here's what I realized. I wasn't failing the exam. I was failing the comparison. Every time I looked sideways, I was borrowing someone else's confidence and returning it as my own doubt. So I made one decision. I closed that tab, mentally. I stopped measuring my preparation against theirs and started measuring it against one thing only, who I needed to be on exam day. Not them, not anyone else. Just me versus the exam. That was it. And something shifted the moment I did that. The exam stopped feeling like a competition and started feeling like a conversation between me and 4 years of work I had already done. Now pause for a second. Comment below right now. What is the hardest thing you're facing right now? An exam? A decision? A dream you keep almost starting? Drop it below. I read every single one. Now here's the part that still makes me uncomfortable to admit. The night before my board exam, I almost destroyed everything. Not by partying, not by giving up, by overstudying. I was there at midnight, notes everywhere, highlighters, flashcards, 3 different reviewers open at the same time, trying to pour 4 years of engineering into one final night. And I remember my hands were shaking, not from coffee, from fear, pure, raw fear. And then I caught myself. I looked at everything spread out in front of me, and I thought, if I don't know this by now, One more night won't save me, but one more night could break me. So I did something that felt almost irresponsible. I closed everything. Every book, every reviewer, every note. I sat in the silence, and I said something to myself that I want you to remember. You have done the work. Now trust the person the work made you. And for the first time in weeks, the shaking stopped. Not because I was suddenly confident, but because I finally stopped fighting myself. And that was the moment I actually became ready. Here's what I want you to understand. This isn't just about board exams. This is about every hard thing you're facing right now. Every moment you're 1 week away, one conversation away, one decision away from everything you've been working toward. And the reason most people don't make it isn't lack of preparation. It's that they quit in the last phase, the hardest phase, the phase that feels like failure, but is actually the final test. Not of your knowledge, not of your skill, of your belief in yourself. So let me ask you something. What are you 1 week away from right now? Not just an exam, maybe a decision you keep postponing, maybe a dream you keep almost starting, maybe a version of yourself you keep almost becoming. What is your last phase? Because here's what I know, and I mean this with everything I have. You are more prepared than you think. You are closer than you feel. And the moment you almost give up is usually the moment you need to take one more step. I passed that board exam, not because I was the smartest person in that room, not because I had the most time to prepare, but because in the hardest moment, I chose to believe in the work I had already done, and in myself. And that made all the difference. So I'll leave you with this. Whatever your board exam is right now, whatever your last phase looks like, don't quit in the final week, because the person you're becoming is waiting on the other side of it. Drop in the comments, what is the hardest thing you're facing right now? No judgment, just honesty, because naming it is the first step toward passing it. And I know you can.